Hello, everyone. We have a special session here today. I am talking with one of our clients that they recently launched their product and have a bit of chat and discussion about the process and everything they've done. In the past series, we have worked and told you about the prototyping, the process, why it's important, the approaches you need to have into the prototyping in terms of what you want to achieve, what you want to test, and the whole process of the product development going forward. Today, I'm with Jesse Hyde. He is, if I'm correct, you are a CEO. Am I right?
I guess so, yes.
Yeah, perfect. You are a CEO of Barista Grip. And I would like to ask you to introduce yourself quickly. Tell us a bit about what you've done, where the idea come from, and what is your product, Barista Grip, basically.
Yeah, sure. I was at a university doing commerce, and at the time I was working in hospitality, and I was pretty convinced that I would not go into hospitality. But I think once you're in that industry, if you like it, it just draws you in. So I did stay in that industry and went on to have a couple of businesses, a cafe and a drive-through coffee place. But essentially, I've probably been working in coffee for the last 20 plus years. A lot of things have changed within the industry, the way we make coffee, I suppose people's expectations of coffee as well too. It's just grown, and Melbourne and Australia in particular are really at the forefront of that. Yeah, there's places in the world that are just as good, but there's not anywhere that you would say was necessarily better. But seeing all these innovations and stuff like that, it always gives you ideas. And when you're working in industry, you might uncover something. And that's what happened with this. I was working, and I used to run a lot of training courses for the coffee company I worked for. And then someone else who was doing the training said, "Oh, I would like to run a new class. Can I test it on you as a guinea pig?" And it was for latte art. And interestingly, just the way they hold a milk jug was a little different to the way I'd always held it. And when they showed me this way, I found it to be quite uncomfortable. And that was the moment. Just in that, I thought, there's got to be a better way. And it was one of those rare occasions when I looked around, someone had not yet made the better way. A lot of ideas, you go, that's a good idea. And then you quickly jump online, have a quick search and you go, oh, yeah, it's been done. Maybe you could do something better. But in this case, it just flat out hadn't been done in a commercial sense. I guess that was the impotence for the design process taking place.
That is right. That is right. I remember that when I first met you, you had your own proof of concept parts that you made yourself and you wanted to manufacture. But I think from that moment that we started working to when you actually launched the product, we went through a journey, a lot of design, prototyping, and getting things work. Tell me a bit more, just for people like yourself that they want to start this journey, maybe they don't have that understanding of what they need to go through at the start when they just got an idea of a product. I would like for them to know your journey, what you've gone through, what's your early expectation, what you actually realize in the process.
Yeah, it is important perhaps to do a little bit of a proof of concept yourself, if you can. If it can technically be done and you can do a little bit of that, not a bad idea. And then you've worked through some things. So I think when we came to you, we had some ideas and then we tested some things to think, okay, this goes in a direction. We're heading in the right direction. So yeah, that proof of concept was there to a degree, definitely to a degree.
It was great actually, because you knew what you want. That's a very important thing. Lots of people, maybe they don't know really what exactly they want, but you had that understanding. You knew what you want. You actually tested it. You can have a few play with it. You had that idea of what's required. But I think still, you can tell that wasn't the final product that you have.
No, not at all. And I think definitely defining the problem that you're trying to solve and the outcome you'd like is really important. I think if you go into it and it's a bit vague, then yeah, it's like how long is a piece of string? So when we're talking about, how long will it take to do something? You haven't really specified exactly what it is you want, or it's unclear where that journey will take us. So that's an interesting part of it. Definitely, I think you were quite clear in that things can take longer than you might hope or wish for. And that is the case. As much as I've said to myself, no, surely we can do things quicker or this can be done quicker. But the reality is not that it's not you as a design company slowing the process down. It's me as a client saying, hang on, there's something else I need to explore. I want to explore here. And usually those things are the things that have pushed it out. But there's just no point going through and trying to rush it if you're going to launch a product that's just not going to be successful in market. Yeah, that was interesting. Oh, yeah.
I think, as you said, then everyone wants to get to the market as quickly as possible, but they don't realize how much effort really it needs to get to the point that you say, yeah, that's a great product I have in your hand. And it sometimes might be frustrating for people who haven't done it before. But I would say, I think I wanted to go back to your experience from that early concepts or the prototype that you made for yourself to the ones that you have in your hand now as a final product. You got through a lot of journey. I don't know how many prototypes we made together, but you can tell that. But I think sometimes in the process, even you were more fussy than us to say, oh yeah, that's good, but can you change here that? So that process, I would like you to tell us a bit more about while you were thinking through that whole process of changing prototyping. Was it necessary, you think? What was the outcome for you?
Yeah, definitely. Don't really think there were many changes or things that we tested that were unnecessary. I can't think of anything that it was like a waste of time to test or that was unnecessary. And still the final product, if there's iterations of that to come and other versions, there's already things I have in mind. Oh, I might just tweak this or tweak that. Yeah, I think it is frustrating, the process of, you want to make little changes, and it is time consuming because yes, you have to then maybe adjust some drawings and some technical data, and then you might have to go back to market. In our case, we had to go and find someone that could actually make some one-off prototypes, and they happen to be overseas. So then you've got to allow that time as well to get it made and get it sent. But each of these processes were entirely necessary to end up with a product that functioned. I think with our product too, we were trying to create something that could, like almost a one size fits all. So it needed to be able to fit multiple different versions of, in this case, a milk jug handle. And they were slightly different shapes and thicknesses. So I think that made it a little more difficult. If you were trying to do something where you just had the one exact specific problem, and that was going to be the same problem you faced every time, then designing your solution product for it would be perhaps a little easier, maybe. But
yes.
Yeah. And it was important to get those. And then when the product came back, also you had to spend time with it. You might have an initial feeling and a thought, but you needed to spend time with it, play with it, get some feedback from other people too. Yeah. I remember late in the process, we're happy with what we had. And then we went, let's just try one last little thing, which again delayed it by some time, but it turned out to be one of the more valuable things where we ended up making an additional size. So we had 2 sizes. And that turned out to be actually a really good choice.
Yes, exactly. And I guess one other sort of experience that you had yourself is the difference between the prototype and the actual product that came out of manufacturing. Because there are different limitations in terms of process and materials, and that's a different process in the manufacturing. Although I think it wasn't a lot different, but there were a few things different in it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The prototypes were, as you explained, the material you described as being as close to final product as possible, but due to the processes, they made it out of slightly different materials. So they were, in some cases, a little more fragile and could tear a little easily. Yeah, so you had to bear that in mind. They didn't have the exact feel. So the ones, when we got the final product, actually feels better than the prototypes, the materials that we're using there. But yeah, a little bit of working through the initial production to get that to sit right. Yeah, good fun playing with colours though. Flash over those sort of things when you're making a one-off. You go, might as well try some different things.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. You have a very good range of different colors and size, so that helps a lot in terms of getting the right product into the hand of customers.
Yeah, definitely.
Certainly. So one maybe last questions I want to ask. Later on, I would like to ask you if you can explain a bit more about your product, because to be honest with you, for me at least, before we met and learned a lot from you, I didn't have any idea of latte arts and what the guys doing. But when I saw and when I talked to you and Darcy, oh, that was a new word to me. Tell me a bit more about the latte arts and where you're working and what exactly your product does for them.
Yeah, for sure. And look, thinking about that market too, I think is important, because if you are going to go through this process, depending who you are, like, so for us, it's just two guys with an idea and a limited budget, let's say, compared to other established companies. So therefore, when we talk to you about an idea and about a market segment and it's something that you've never heard of, that's a good thing, because I think if you're small, niche is where you need to be, unless you're looking at maybe trying to do a licensing agreement or something like that. But if you're going to launch a creative product and launch it yourself, you probably want to be niche. And very interestingly, from the beginning, I thought this is a global product, so that's good. So there's people making coffee all around the world, and latte art is simply just, if you get a milk-based coffee and then someone puts some sort of a pattern or some sort of a picture in it, some art into your coffee, that's latte art. And it's really quite amazing what they can do simply by pouring from a jug without even using, a lot of people do what they call etching. So take a little implement and then literally draw with it. But it's amazing what they can do just simply pouring. And so it's fascinating. But that's going on all around the world. And so the notion of, oh, okay, there's a global market, anyone that picks up a milk jug. And so here we are in Melbourne, Australia. And this week I have sent product to Chile, Qatar, US, Germany, France in 1 week. All these places. Oh, it's just fantastic. Yeah, really amazing. And yeah, so the product, in simple terms, it's literally a grip to fit over the handle of a milk jug. A milk jug handle is just a thin strip of metal. And when you grab it and pinch it that way, you've got a very small surface area because you're grabbing the side of it. And this just gives you a lot more surface area to play with. So it's more comfortable, easier to hold, and ultimately gives you more control. But there's a bunch of other benefits too, like the ergonomics of it, the comfort of it. It also means if you're changing from one jug to another, you've got the same grip on each one.
Yes.
So you don't have to adjust and get used to using or holding something else. So there's a lot of benefits. We'll also launch color-coded so you can identify what milk is in the jug, which will be important.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And if anyone wants to contact you or buy the product, where they should go?
Very simple. Barista Grip, one word.com. Very simple. And you can reach out to us there or order from there.
Excellent. That's great. Perfect. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for your insight and the history and background of your amazing product. Thank you.
Yeah.
And, tell me if there's anything else you wanted to say to the guys, otherwise.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that the process with yourself and the team has been fantastic, and it's not always an easy process. There are times that are frustrating, and we've been able to work through those things really well. Your patience is amazing. Your guidance has been amazing. And if I've questioned things or pushed back on things, it's never been a problem for you. You're always like, okay, yeah, let me explain why this is this way or why that's that way. And we can always work through things. So it's been a really good process. Obviously, as I said, it's longer than you would hope, but it's worked out really well. And I found you to be also quite open about things too, which has been very helpful.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jesse. That was great talking to you.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
All the best.
All the best.